It's happening. We're about to witness the most awaited event of the year, and nobody is prepared for it. The moon is about to roar in red. This isn't just a full moon, and it's not just another eclipse. It's a total lunar eclipse, a blood moon. The kind that has been feared, celebrated, and whispered about for centuries. And it's not happening at some distant point in the future, it's happening soon. And it may just be the most important day of 2025. And here's the catch. You don't get to stand on the sidelines. No one does. The blood moon doesn't wait for you to be ready, it pulls you into its gravity. For thousands of years, people believed something was wrong with the moon when it turned blood red. There were many beliefs surrounding it, but whatever the story, they all agreed. A blood moon was never just another night. It was a warning, a shift, a signal to pay attention. And here's what's different about right now. You're not waiting for September 7th. You're already standing in its pull. The days leading up to the blood moon feel like living inside a pressure cooker. Small things hit harder, emotions snap quicker, and even silence feels heavy. It's like the universe is shaking you, loosening anything that can't pass through this eclipse with you. But still, pay attention, because you need to be prepared for when it arrives. The blood moon isn't here for you to simply look at in awe. It's here to expose. When the Earth's shadow swallows the moon and turns it red, it's like the universe holds up a magnifying glass to your life and dares you to look at what's really there. This isn't just about admiring the sky, it's about seeing the cracks in your current path, the weight of relationships that no longer fit, and the patterns that have silently held you back. And once the blood moon reveals it, there's no unseeing it. That's why ancient cultures both revered and feared this night. It brings revelations that change everything. Think of it as an awakening, not the kind you stumble into once, but the kind that shakes you awake again when you've started to drift back to sleep. The blood moon doesn't just shine light, it burns through illusion. Some people will try to ignore what it shows them. They'll pretend they didn't notice the truth rising in their face. But if you're watching this, you're not one of those people. You'll feel the shift. You'll see what you need to see. And you'll know exactly what has to be left behind. But that's only half the story. Because while you're having your awakening, the collective field is about to erupt with something much louder and heavier. The blood moon doesn't just stir individuals, it shakes the entire collective. And when that happens, the air feels thick with tension. You'll notice it everywhere. People snapping over nothing, moods swinging like a pendulum, strangers lashing out, and conversations turning into confrontations. It's not personal, it's energetic. When this kind of eclipse energy floods in, it's like the pressure builds inside every single person. The blood moon doesn't just test individuals, it tests society. Small annoyances feel explosive. Hidden frustrations burst out, and you'll see people around you acting in ways that don't even feel like them. This is why, throughout history, blood moons were linked to unrest, chaos, and disruption. It wasn't superstition, it was observation. People felt the shift, even if they didn't have the words for it. And now, you'll see it happening again. It's important to recognize that the chaos you see isn't random. The eclipse is stirring the pot, shaking the collective field, forcing out the instability that can't survive in what comes next. That's why you can't take these moments personally. When someone lashes out, it isn't really about you, it's about the pressure they can't contain. And the deeper question is this: if the collective is this unstable now, what happens when the shadow fully falls across the moon? That's when things get truly unpredictable. For most people, the blood moon is a spectacle, something to look at and maybe take a picture of. But for energy-sensitive souls, the ones who can actually feel when the frequency of the Earth shifts, it's not just a show. It's overwhelming. It's like standing in front of an amplifier turned all the way up, blasting straight into your nervous system. When the moon turns red, the collective noise around you gets louder too. People's moods, their stress, their outbursts, the unspoken tension in the air. If you're attuned, you'll feel it pressing against you even before you realize what's happening. That's why the most awakened don't rush out to celebrate in big groups during an eclipse. They feel a deep pull to do the opposite, to step back, to retreat, to vanish from the noise of everyone else's frequency. And here's the truth. It's not about avoiding people. It's about protecting your field so the blood moon can work on you directly without interference. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is where the strongest signals arrive. The blood moon recalibrates you, but only if you give it space to do so. So if you suddenly feel like you don't want to talk, don't want to scroll, don't want to be around anyone, that's not antisocial behavior. That's alignment. That's the eclipse calling you into solitude so you can hear what others can't. The lone signal is clearest when you step out of the crowd. And when you do, something else becomes possible. Something the blood moon hides in its shadow, waiting for those who dare to claim it. The blood moon isn't just dramatic to look at, it's a rare energetic window where the rules of manifestation bend in ways that don't happen under ordinary skies. When the shadow swallows the moon, the normal balance between light and dark collapses. The usual rhythm of reflection and release is interrupted, and in that disruption lies power. This is the moment when intention doesn't just echo into the universe, it strikes like a hammer onto molten iron, shaping the future in real time. But here's the truth. This energy is not soft, it's not forgiving, and it's not for the hesitant. Wishing quietly, hoping something might come true, asking gently for what you want, those things won't survive the weight of this eclipse. The blood moon is forged in shadow and fire, and it demands the same from you. Boldness, certainty, conviction. Anything less is swallowed by the red glow and left behind. This is why manifestations born on a blood moon feel heavier than those of ordinary moons. They don't float into the universe like whispers on the wind. They root themselves deep into the unseen, binding themselves into the soil of reality. Think of it less like making a wish and more like writing a contract. The words you speak, the visions you claim, become sealed into the eclipse itself, pressed down by the weight of the shadow. And once they're sealed, they are difficult to undo. That's why you must choose carefully. This isn't a night for half-formed ideas or casual desires. It's a night to declare the one thing you would risk everything for, the one thing you would refuse to let go of, no matter how heavy the cost. Because that is what the blood moon respects. It doesn't reward convenience, it rewards courage, and you'll feel it. As the eclipse deepens, as the moon bleeds red, you may feel your body vibrating with restlessness, as if it already knows you're being asked to decide. Your chest may tighten, your thoughts may race, your palms may tingle. That's not anxiety, it's energy pooling inside you, waiting for direction, waiting for you to say, "This is mine. This is what I choose." The universe bends to those who refuse to doubt, and this blood moon is proof. It's a rare cosmic stage where your words don't just drift upward, they are carved into the shadow, etched into the night, and carried forward with a force that lingers long after the light returns. So ask yourself this: when the moon is drenched in red and silence hangs over the earth, what truth are you bold enough to seal into reality? Because hesitation will leave you empty, but conviction will leave a mark the universe cannot erase. The blood moon doesn't wait politely for you to get your life in order. It rips open the door and drags whatever's rotting in the shadows straight into the light. And here's the thing: you don't want to be caught off guard when that happens. If you don't clear it out, the eclipse will. Right now, in these final hours before the moon turns red, you need to look around your life with sharp eyes. What arguments are still hanging in the air, unspoken, but poisoning the space? What conversations have you been avoiding because you'd rather let them rot than resolve them? The blood moon won't let you keep carrying that. Either you settle it yourself, or it will come crashing out in the most chaotic way possible. It's not just about people. It's about the objects that carry weight. That old box under your bed, filled with letters or memories that make your stomach twist every time you think about them. Why are you still letting it live in your space? That one text thread you keep rereading, even though it only keeps you chained to the past, why are you still keeping it alive? These aren't just things. They are hooks. And the blood moon pulls on those hooks until they tear free. Think of it like this: if your energy field is already full of clutter, the eclipse doesn't give you more room. It smashes through, tossing the mess everywhere until you're forced to deal with it. That's why tonight isn't about gentle reflection or vague letting go. It's about decisive action. You clear it now, on your terms, or the blood moon clears it for you on its terms. And its way is always messier. This is the purge phase. It's ruthless, it's urgent, and it's not optional. The blood moon removes what you refuse to release. If you want to step into what this eclipse has to offer, you can't drag the past along with you. So look at your life, strip out what doesn't belong, and do it fast. Because once the shadow falls, hesitation will cost you more than you think. The blood moon doesn't whisper, it dares. It dares you to step across the line you've been staring at for months, maybe even years. And under its glow, something shifts. The hesitation that's been weighing you down suddenly burns away. And before you even realize it, you've said the words, you've taken the step, you've leapt. The blood moon doesn't ask permission, it hands you the fire and waits to see if you'll hold it. Throughout history, eclipses have been moments when ordinary people made extraordinary choices. Not because they planned it, but because something inside them snapped awake. There are stories of people walking away from jobs that suffocated them, as if the lunar shadow gave them the courage they couldn't find in daylight. Lovers have confessed hidden feelings under that red light, turning entire lives upside down with one trembling sentence. And others have ended relationships that were long overdue, their silence broken not by reason, but by the undeniable pressure of this night. It's a pattern that repeats because the energy is undeniable. The blood moon acts like a cosmic push. The fears that used to stop you, rejection, failure, embarrassment, suddenly seem too small to matter. Under the blood moon, fear becomes irrelevant, and only truth survives. That's why some people describe waking up the next morning and realizing they finally did the thing they've been circling around for years. And while it may shock them, it never feels wrong, because the blood moon strips away hesitation and leaves you with only what's real. So tonight, don't be surprised if you feel that sudden rush. The urge to say something you've been holding back. The impulse to send the message you've typed out and deleted 100 times. The bravery to set something in motion that changes everything. This is what the blood moon does. It cracks you open and dares you to act. The question is, will you take the dare or let the moment pass? Because one truth about this eclipse is certain: these moments don't come twice. This total lunar eclipse is not gentle. It pulls masks straight off faces and throws them to the ground. Under its red glow, the act can't be maintained anymore. The carefully rehearsed smile, the polite silence, the fake agreement, all of it slips. The blood moon reveals not who people want to be, but who they really are. You'll notice it in the smallest things first. Someone who usually hides their irritation suddenly can't stop snapping. A person who always downplays their feelings lets something slip that changes everything. Jokes that sound a little too sharp. Confessions that tumble out after being bottled up for years. It's the eclipse pulling the truth through their teeth. And it won't just be other people. Look in the mirror. You may catch yourself saying something you never thought you'd admit, even to yourself. This is why so many people throughout history have feared blood moons. Not because of the light in the sky, but because of what that light does to us down here. It burns away the pretense. It strips out the comfortable illusions. And suddenly, the world looks raw and unfiltered. That friend you thought you could rely on shows their distance. That person you underestimated reveals a depth you never saw before. That partner you thought you knew says the one thing you weren't ready to hear. The unmasking doesn't always bring comfort. Sometimes it hurts. But the pain is honest, and honesty is power. Lies collapse under the weight of the blood moon. That's why you'll feel shifts in relationships, both subtle and dramatic. Some bonds will break, not because they suddenly stopped mattering, but because they were never as real as you believed. Others will grow stronger, because now, for the first time, everything is out in the open. So pay attention during this eclipse. Listen carefully, not just to what people say, but to what slips out when they stop controlling the script. Watch their eyes, their tone, their choices. The blood moon makes it impossible to hide for long. And while it may shake your world, it also gives you something far more valuable than comfort: clarity. The blood moon doesn't just touch the sky, it shakes the human heart. Think of it like a fault line inside of you, one that's been quietly holding pressure for years. When the eclipse hits, that fault line doesn't just tremble, it cracks open. And what spills out are emotions you didn't even know you were still carrying. The blood moon turns the heart into an earthquake zone. Everything hidden comes rumbling to the surface. You might feel it as tears that arrive with no warning, not tied to any specific memory, but almost as if your body is cleansing itself. For others, it comes as sudden laughter, bursts of joy that erupt in the middle of silence. Some will feel a surge of anger, frustration, or even heartbreak. It's not random, it's the eclipse jolting your emotional body awake. The same way the earth shudders during a quake, your chest, your heart chakra, vibrates with all the pressure it has been holding. What makes this moment so intense is that it bypasses logic. You won't be able to explain why you suddenly feel overwhelmed with love for someone you haven't thought about in years, or why a song you've heard 100 times suddenly makes you cry, or why you can't shake the feeling that something is changing right now in the deepest part of you. That's because this is not about the mind. It's about the raw core of who you are being shaken awake. And here's the secret. The blood moon doesn't cause these feelings. It reveals them. The quake doesn't build the pressure. It only exposes what was buried. If you've been hiding your love, you may suddenly feel an unstoppable need to express it. If you've been carrying grief, it might surge up in waves. If you've been sitting on anger, you might finally let it out. This is why so many people describe blood moons as overwhelming, because the heart can't keep its secrets during a quake. But don't mistake this for punishment. When the heart breaks open, it's not destruction, it's expansion. That's the deeper power of a spiritual heartquake. Every tear, every laugh, every raw outburst is a sign that your emotional body is being reset. You're making space. You're shaking off layers that no longer fit so that something more authentic can rise in their place. So if this eclipse leaves you crying without reason, laughing too hard, or suddenly saying things you never planned to say, don't suppress it. Feel it. Because the blood moon isn't trying to break you, it's trying to show you how powerful you are when your heart finally beats without restraints. The closer we move to the blood moon, the more amplified everything becomes. Energy doesn't just circulate, it collides, it multiplies, it spills over into every interaction. And if you're sensitive, if you're the type who already feels the weight of other people's moods, then this is the moment when boundaries are not optional, they are survival. When the moon bleeds red, every energy becomes louder. Protect your space, or their chaos will become your storm. Think about the people around you. Some of them uplift you, fuel you, make you feel lighter. But there are others, the ones who always leave you drained, anxious, or second-guessing yourself. During an eclipse like this, those drains don't just nibble at your energy, they pull at it like a tidal current. That's why arguments spark out of nowhere, why little comments suddenly cut deep, why you can feel exhausted after a 5-minute conversation. The blood moon isn't just magnifying your emotions, it's magnifying theirs. And if you're not careful, you end up carrying weight that isn't even yours. So what do? You draw the line. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to explain it. You simply enforce it. If a certain person's presence feels heavy, limit your time with them. If social spaces feel too chaotic, step away. If you feel the urge to unplug from group chats, endless scrolling, or constant notifications, honor that instinct. It's not isolation, it's preservation. Because these days are not about merging with the noise, they're about tuning into your own frequency. The blood moon creates an environment where every influence gets multiplied. If you're around people who radiate chaos, you'll absorb chaos. If you surround yourself with clarity, you'll feel clearer. That's why it's not selfish to say no, to close the door, to guard your peace. It's alignment. Protecting your energy isn't rejecting the world, it's choosing the world you want to live in. And here's the truth. If you don't set your own boundaries, the eclipse will do it for you, and it won't be gentle. People will exit your life suddenly, conflicts will erupt, relationships will break under pressure. That's why these days, leading up to the eclipse, are so important. You have the chance to decide what stays and what goes. You can choose to release energy drains quietly, instead of waiting for the blood moon to rip them out dramatically. So if you find yourself craving more solitude or noticing that certain people suddenly feel too loud, listen. Your soul is telling you what to protect. Because when the eclipse reaches its peak, your energy is going to be a magnet, drawing in whatever surrounds you. Guard it now, and the blood moon will amplify your strength. Leave it open, and it will amplify someone else's chaos. This is why boundaries matter more than ever. They're not walls, they're shields. They're what allow you to stand in the middle of cosmic turbulence and still feel steady. And when the sky goes red, steadiness is the rarest and most powerful gift you can have. There are nights that pass like every other night, and then there are nights that stamp themselves onto your life so deeply you can never forget them. The Blood Moon Eclipse of 2025 is not just another lunar event, it is that stamp. It is the scar in the sky that demands you leave your own scar on history. This isn't about waiting for the right moment, this is the right moment. The sky itself is giving you a one-time permission slip, daring you to do the thing you've been holding back from, the leap you've been circling around, the choice you've been too afraid to make. And years from now, when you look back, this will be the night you remember as the pivot point. The night everything shifted. Think about it. Every cycle of your life has been building toward this crescendo. Every hesitation, every excuse, every delay you've wrapped around yourself like a blanket, it all gets ripped open under the red glow. The blood moon doesn't just light up the sky, it illuminates the gap between who you are and who you were meant to be. And inside that gap is a razor's edge choice. Will you rise to meet it or shrink back into silence? Because here's the brutal truth. The blood moon doesn't wait. It demands. This isn't about being perfect. You don't need a detailed plan. You don't need to know every step on the path ahead. All you need is one act bold enough, raw enough, undeniable enough to mark this night forever. For some of you, that means breaking a cycle you've been chained to for years, walking away from what you know is poison, finally slamming the door on what's been draining you. For others, it's daring to speak words you've bitten back until your tongue bled, confessions, truths, desires that terrify you, but refuse to stay buried. And for the rare few, this is the night to set an intention so audacious, so unshakable, that it scares even you. Not a wish, a declaration, a contract signed in the glow of the blood moon that cannot be undone. Because here's what makes this night unlike any other. Moments like this don't repeat. Yes, there will be other moons. Yes, there will be other eclipses. But none will carry this shadow, this red fire, this once-in-a-lifetime alignment. The universe is not handing out endless chances. A blood moon is not a reminder, it's a deadline. Deadlines carve clarity out of hesitation. Deadlines leave no room for maybe later. So I dare you, don't let the sky do all the bleeding. Make your own mark, burn the old letter, break the chain, shatter the mask, throw out the object that has kept you anchored to a past you no longer belong to. Write the outrageous dream and claim it as already yours, or stand beneath the blood-red sky and shout your truth into the night until your voice shakes. This isn't about ritual, it's about impact. It's about doing something so unshakably bold that your future self will never be able to deny that this was the night it began. Your soul will remember, your spirit will echo it, and when you look back, you will know you didn't just watch the eclipse, you answered it. So ask yourself, if you could only do one thing that changes everything, what would it be? Because when the shadow lifts and the sky pretends to return to normal, the truth is nothing will be the same. The question is, will you? Or will you be someone who left the blood moon unanswered? This is your one shot. Claim it, seal it, burn it into the fabric of your reality. Because the moon will bleed whether you act or not. But only those who dare to bleed with it will be remembered by the night. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.